Tonight, it is my great pleasure to honor the memory of Gilda's Toronto founder, Lorna Rosenstein, with a presentation of the second annual Lorna Rosenstein Youth Volunteer Leadership Award. Lorna experienced firsthand the uncertainty and grief of a cancer diagnosis. If Gilda's Toronto had existed when Lorna received her first diagnosis, she might have openly discussed her concerns about how cancer and the treatment she underwent would impact her long-term health, her relationships, or her career. She may have experienced less fear or anxiety. She may have felt less alone, and she may have felt more supported in her cancer experience. Lorna lived the concept of tzedakah with a generosity of spirit and commitment to community that made her a lifelong volunteer, not only as co-founder in Gilda's Toronto, but in her support of the work of many organizations. Lorna's own cancer experience made her a passionate believer in members helping members, a passion that made the dream of Gilda's Toronto a reality. Tonight, we will see Lorna's legacy reflected in the extraordinary leadership and volunteerism exhibited by tonight's recipient of the Lorna Rosenstein Youth Volunteer Leadership Award. This award is presented to a youth between the ages of 14 and 24 who has been impacted by cancer and who has shown volunteer leadership in the community. The recipient will be paired with a mentor to help this young person get closer to fulfilling their professional goals. The recipient will also receive $1,500 thanks to funding from the Lorna Rosenstein Legacy Fund. This award would not have been possible without the generous support of Freedom International Brokerage Company, TD, and many individual donors like you. Before announcing tonight's award recipient, I want to first congratulate and thank all of the youth who were nominated for this award. It was an enormous privilege to learn about the accomplishments of this group of young people. Their leadership has inspired positive change in their communities. You all should be proud of your accomplishments, and we look forward to seeing what you do next. Tonight's award recipient is a young woman who lost her father to cancer at age 12. His death was so sudden that she struggled to cope with her grief and suffered panic attacks and depression. She didn't have the tools and resources to understand what she was experiencing. She counts herself as extremely fortunate to have received the support she needed through Camp Erin Toronto, the Dr. J's Children's Grief Center, and Gilda's Teen Support Program. Meeting people like herself helped her to feel less isolated. Since then, she has grown into a passionate advocate for youth experiencing grief and bereavement. She helped establish the Youth Advisory Council at Yorktown Family Services Grief and Bereavement Program, a group created to recognize the power of youth voices and perspectives in informing culturally competent, holistic, and robust care for grieving children, youth, and their families. The council also acknowledges the value of lived experience. Volunteering has allowed her to give back to her community, find her voice, and honor her father. Tonight's recipient started her university career at the University of Waterloo and will be transferring to Toronto Metropolitan University in September to study for a degree in social work. Her dream is to become a social worker and support others as a grief counselor and palliative hospice, bereavement, and oncology work. I am honored to present the second annual Lorna Rosenstein Youth Volunteer Leadership Award to Antonietta Guiterrez.
I want to first off thank Elizabeth, Tori, and the entire Gilda's Club team for recognizing me with this award, and for the family of Lorna Rosenstein for generously establishing this fund to continue supporting those impacted by cancer. I have read about how she was an amazing early feminist and visionary who shattered barriers during a time in our world where women faced countless hurdles, and something I feel truly and deeply driven and inspired by. I feel very lucky to be with all of you tonight. Like many of you who have created this documentary, I was a member of the Teen Talk support group from 2018 to 2020 and found an instant connection and comfort with peers my age, all experiencing similar and complex feelings from the death of someone to cancer or living with someone with cancer. While all of our circumstances were unique, being a part of this group helped me to realize that I didn't need to carry all of the guilt and shame that came with my dad's cancer diagnosis and how he died. Despite the adversities we were all facing at such a young age, this group gave me the opportunity to heal and find hope for my future with the support of our gifted facilitators. I found an amazing community here at Gilda's. For me, my dad will always be my biggest inspiration. He immigrated to Canada in the 1980s, fleeing military violence in El Salvador, and worked in a factory making paper coffee cups to put himself through college, and eventually had a successful career as a mechanical engineer. My dad really taught me what it meant to dream, how important it was to value community, and to never ever give up on yourself. He lived with stage 4 lung cancer for nearly 3 years after originally being given only months to live, and he lived each and every single one of those days with immense courage and resilience. It was heartbreaking and devastating witnessing my dad and my family navigate an inequitable and complex healthcare system, unaware and unable to access support services that we needed. Being the youngest in my family, I was not allowed to be a part of conversations regarding my dad's prognosis and treatment with doctors, nurses, and healthcare providers. I had never seen a social worker in the 3 years my dad was in and out of hospitals. I didn't know how severe my dad's condition was until the last few weeks of his life when he was on the palliative care floor of a public rehab center that had no social worker and only one on-call nurse. My dad was so painfully and quickly ripped from my life, I didn't have the chance to be a kid. I struggled throughout my teen years with depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. But I am so grateful I was able to receive the support I needed because it ultimately saved my life. While cancer robbed my dad's dream of seeing me grow up, he has now become the heart of all of the work I do with grieving children, youth, adults, and families alike through the now closed Dr. J Children's Grief Center, Camp Aaron Toronto, Yorktown Family Services, and now as a summer student at Bereaved Families Toronto. It is my dream and my hope that I can someday become a grief counselor and support communities in the area of palliative and hospice care and oncology. Through this work, I honor and remember the remarkable life my dad lived, and for my dear family friend too, who died from terminal cancer when I was 15, who supported my family after my dad had died. It is them who fuel everything I do. The grief community have transformed my life in so many unexpected ways, from feeling so isolated and ashamed to realizing that there were grieving people all around me really helped me to better express my emotions in healthy ways and created meaningful connections with some of the most compassionate and resilient people I have ever met. They have all given me purpose, hope, a reason to keep advocating for better mental health supports and ensuring that no one has to ever go through grief alone. So thank you, Gilda's Club, for believing in me and my dreams.
That was really, truly inspiring. And congratulations again. Clearly, you are being led by an incredible force in your dad and your friend, and you're going to be sharing all the knowledge and experience that you've built up with so many more people.